cat. The cat is mewing. Nothing we can do about that as long as you can't hear it.
I think it's a good sound effect. Okay, we are live. We have people coming in.
Oh my gosh. Feels very
Hi.
magical.
I know it's like it's a real little magical kingdom here.
It is.
Hi everyone. I am live with Tina Brown here. Great, Tina Brown. As folks are coming in, as always, just in the chat, tell us where you are coming in from geographically, but also psychologically. Give us both your geographic and your psychological location. Tina, how would you answer that question for yourself?
I am sitting in my apartment in Beekman Place, New York, which is quite near the UN. Psychologically, I guess my head is whirling like everyone else's every time my phone pings. So that's kind of my space at the moment. I just got back from India.
Well, I saw that, and I want to ask you about that. So
Yeah.
welcome everyone. These lives have been really, really, I don't know if fun is the right word recently, but therapeutic, helpful, a place to process. And Tina, I'm so glad we could do this together. I've admired your writing and editing and
Thank
much
you.
else for a long time. So it's great to be chatting.
And very much true on my side. So it is very good to make your acquaintance.
So right before I pressed the live button, you were about to say, and so I stopped you because I wanted you to share it with everybody. Just what a crazy time we are living in, and I feel like you are someone who has had a ringside seat at a fair amount of crazy times in the world, in different places. You know, things do pass. But can you talk about, from your vantage point, what makes this time so crazy, even in the kind of vast spectrum of things you've seen and covered and written about?
Well, I think the surprise is just we all knew that the Trump first term was this kind of wild shit show that we hope never to see it again. And then came the sort of Trump 2 was supposed to be this new focused president who'd spent that 4 years kind of getting his act together with his advisors. We might not like what he was doing, but it was going to be a less sort of explosive presidency. But that seems to have totally changed. I mean, it seems like now this second presidency has started at kinetic speed in such explosive ways that it actually makes the first term look like a sea of calm. So that's kind of the alarming part. I mean, I think we were all ready for like Trump 2 being, he's going to do lots of stuff we don't like, but he's going to be kind of calmer and more organized. That doesn't seem to be the case. And I wonder whether there is a kind of, what's the word, sort of relationship that he's developed with Musk, which is like a kind of a sort of a bad kind of constellation of things when the two of them get together that has made him more insane. That Trump ramps, Musk ramps Trump up even further and almost daring Trump, to be more Trump than Trump. It's definitely a very bad dynamic.
I feel like you are so good at many things, but in particular, understanding the human personalities behind some of these big forces and making the connection between them. So when you see these two guys and you see one of them elected, one of them who has sort of weaseled his way in through some late breaking political donations at the end and campaigning in Pennsylvania and giving big checks to people, and now is in the Treasury Department's payment systems, is shutting down agencies on his own with a bunch of like 19-year-old geeks. Tell me how you just read them as this kind of, I don't know, like anti-constitutional buddy story.
Well, I think what's interesting about Musk has always been his relationship with his father, right? So, I mean, I think that he was very much abused by his father, and I also think Trump is a bit like his father, I mean, so I think for Musk, there is a real sort of visceral atavistic thing going on with his sort of father relationship. But I also think that for Musk, Trump has sort of liberated his uh, something about him that he felt that he wasn't expressing enough, that Trump has given him absolute permission to be as outrageous as he ever wanted. He was always outrageous and he was always, a rule breaker, but Trump has really allowed him and given him the playground of a lifetime as far as he's concerned, because he is brilliant at reconceiving systems, as we saw, in his own career at Tesla, and the incredible way that he figured out ways to keep on, delete, 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 as he would say, with the rockets, where he would sort of make them lighter and lighter by taking things off them. So he's obviously got an incredibly brilliant mind in terms of seeing through systems and seeing how to make them function better. But he's also now got this absolutely out of control sort of power, essentially, that has, I think, liberated something very alarming in him. There was actually a photograph I saw of Musk and Trump yesterday somewhere, and the expression on Trump's face, Musk is very close to Trump in his face, and the expression on Musk's face was sort of a kind of wild excitement in his eyes. I mean, it's like he's really on a roll. This is for him a real high. And the question is, how far will Trump allow him to go? How much is he doing Trump's bidding? Or will he, in the end, be a liability for Trump? Because if this continues, I can't see how this works for Trump ultimately, is to have so much discombobulation, so much chaos. It's very dangerous too, and something really bad is going to happen. I thought that what Rahm Emanuel said on Morning Joe, I think it was yesterday, was very interesting. He said, we've seen this before, in Israel, when Netanyahu was so focused on kind of dismantling the judiciary, the eyes went off the ball. I mean, they were just not thinking about like national security. It was all about internal politics and craziness and stuff he was doing, and people were in the streets marching. They weren't thinking about the critical thing in their lives, which was security. And yes, Hamas took one look at this and said, you know what, this is a really good moment for us to go in there. And I think the same could happen here.
One of the things we've been talking about a lot at the Ink is two different sorts of fecklessness. I would say that media fecklessness in the face of everything you're describing, and then Democratic Party fecklessness in the face of everything you're describing. So we should take those kind of one after another. I mean, you are someone who's famous for naming things as they are, but you have also worked inside many, many of these publications that have different relationships to calling a spade versus trying to be more restrained, the kind of both sides thing. You've lived inside and outside these organizations. Um, and I often feel like people are right that the media is really problematic right now, but they're often wrong about the mechanism by which that is happening. They think it's a giant conspiracy, and I often think it's real incapacity and people in the media not really knowing how to cover this moment. If you look at the front page of any major newspaper in America right now, you would not realize that the federal government is being, eviscerated by an unelected billionaire personally going into offices and doing that. How do you read the media right now? How do you read its failures? And as someone who is inside it, what would you tell people about what's actually going on that makes them so afraid and timid and sometimes just unable to name the big thing happening?
Well, I mean, one of the problems was that we had sort of 3 or 4 years of, even longer, of sort of crying wolf, essentially, by the sort of liberal media. They were outraged by every damn tweet that Trump did. Now what we're seeing is something that truly is sort of a threat, a serious threat sort of to the republic, and they seem to be oddly docile. Their outrage just can't sort of meet the moment.